Hello everyone, welcome back to Positron Plays Pyre. Let's continue our journey to the Ridge of Goal. And we're going to deal with Ignarius and the Tempers. I wonder if he'll say anything about Jordario. Kind of bummed that Ignarius isn't going to get another chance. To be honest, I think if he made it to the Liberation Right, it might throw the game. Get him out there with Jordario. They seem to have a connection. Ah, interesting. We're at the shop here. Hey guys, now don't tell me, but I ain't seeing that old Mr. Sandalwood with the rest of you. You finally get out of here or what? Well, good for him, I guess. As long as you don't take all the rest of you with them. You know what I mean? I value all my customers. I'm sure you do, Ron. We don't have any things to level up, do we? I don't believe so. Oh no, we could level up the Living Flame. I mean, it's not a bad talisman, but I feel like we're kind of set in that aspect. Are there any more of the buffs? No permanent. Yeah, just the consumable ones. Well, I suppose we could sell Wolfred's talisman here. We could buy some starters. I think I'll save it though, just in case there's something crazy we want to buy towards the end here. Thanks for stopping by. I suppose we'll just commence the rite here. I should make you all the necessary preparations amidst the loathsome lands of the Ridge of Goal. You and your companions await the commencement of the rites. It's quieter even than usual at the onset of such events. The lone minstrel appears bearing some sort of news. I have checked and it appears as though the Tempers have not yet arrived, reader. There's no sign of Ignarius or anyone. Their sigil is not set either. What he says is true, and your adversaries are not present, then you presume the rite cannot commence. However, the stars themselves do indicate you are mistaken. I wonder if Orlek is here. We're not going to tempt fate and add in any of these. We're just going to go here.
The Commonwealth, your home. Today it is aflame. Much like a stack of books. Aflame because of you. Because of your outlandish plan. Not that you care. Not that you shall live to see this place again. Your attempts at revolution shan't succeed. Though by all means, keep trying. As for myself, I shall enjoy presiding over these remaining rites.
The rite is set to commence, but your adversaries have failed to show. By the scribes, they must have lost all hope. Indeed, as the rites are drawing to a close, some of the triumvirates who you have met, perhaps they are beginning to decide the stars are not worth heeding any longer. Ignarius, you wonder whether he would give up on the rites like that. I don't know. He did seem rather disaffected, having failed in the Liberation Rite before. Perhaps he did finally decide to quit for good. They haven't moved up the ranks at all since. In any case, we have begun the ceremony here, and so I ask that we end it.
Who shall besmirch the Nightwing's name?
Oh goodness, are we just gonna go up against no one?
Tizo. Bertrude. It is done.
Take no pleasure snuffing out a flame disowned. Or
Lo, even your adversaries have abandoned you, and it is done. The Nightwings prevail. By
Achievement
default.
unlocked Flame Quencher.
Not that their adversaries even care.
I probably should have stuck around to see if he would have talked more there, but that's interesting. By the scribes, is this truly what they wanted?
Boundless are the teachings of the scribes.
And we don't even really get any experience from that.
Now go and wallow in the downside for a while.
Huh. Wow, that's actually kind of that's a little more of a powerful thing than I would have expected. No one speaks further of the tempers back at the Black Wagon. Everyone is instead preoccupied with the right that is to come. Is it true then? This is going to be our last chance to go home. The stars always shine with truth. The ending of the cycle of the rites is now upon us. He looks over to you. Please look forth, reader, and see this for yourself. You may well surmise where we are going next. The others turn to you as well. You turn toward the wagon's door. You know what you shall see out there. Now, however, the time has come to face it. The dim and fading light of the final star still pierces through the darkness, demanding your attention, guiding you toward the endpoint of your path. Look upon it for the last. Oh my. It's gonna be up against Albert. Oh boy. Oh, Orlek is already on his way. Ha. Well then. You are summoned to the Fall of Solium for your 7th and final liberation rite. Thus shall the cycle of the rites be ended for an age. Since that if the rite shall ever commence again, it shall not be during your lifetime or that of any of your companions, even the longest lived ones. The stars reveal to you one more thing. The adversary who you shall face be Orlek. Already he has crossed the scribe's gate and awaits your arrival. The 8 scribes created the Nightwings in their own likeness. Perhaps it is only fitting the Nightwings should, in the end, be forced to face themselves. It is a shame that we should have to confront Orlek in the end. Our goals should never have been at cross purposes. I am surprised that this is what the scribes desire. For now, it may be best that you recover until dawn. Regain your strength as best you can for the coming trial. Rest well, reader. The group disperses as the exhaustion sets in. At dawn, you fly to Mount Elodial to make a final effort to achieve your plan and get somebody home. But who? Oh boy. I don't suppose Sandra wants to talk either. Boy, we're gonna have some interesting choices to make, aren't we?
Foolish reader. Your so-called friends. You are accomplice to their hateful plot. They are exploiting you. You shall never have your freedom.
I mean, as the reader, we're stuck here no matter what, right? By dawn, you are already up and about after a troubled slumber. The Black Wagon is prepared for its final voyage to the Fall of Solium. No one speaks. As you lift in the skies, the lone minstrel raises his voice, cutting through the somber mood. Reader, a certain olden ballad comes to mind just now. I think it may befit the circumstance. Perhaps it may help to pass the time along our flight. Would you mind it very much if I were to play this song for the Nightwings? Yeah, go ahead, of course. You urge the lone minstrel to play his ballad so that all among you might hear it. Begins without another word.
When the stars align, the rites shall come to bear. Illuminate the signs, the exiles shall be there. All are not the same, but 3 shall be begun. Strength may break our own, but twisted make a brain. Together on their own, the journey shall be made. The journey shall be made.
Well, thank you for that, Tariq. Looks like we can land at the Temple Cistern or the High Road. We'll land here with Faye. I'm a little worried about her. Touch down amid the sheer cliffs of Mount Elodial to make pilgrimage to the summit of the one last time. There one last reverberation rite shall commence. There one last exile shall regain his or her freedom. All others shall remain to carry out their sentences here in the downside for the remainder of their lives. And in the Commonwealth, the plan of which you are part shall either come to fruition or shall be suppressed. After having landed, you join Faye on an expedition to the monument of Molten Melith, for what is likely to be the final time. Glory to the 8 scribes, for you have chosen me to be a witness to the ending of the cycle of the rites. We have followed on your path, and in your path, and now we have arrived upon the site at which the cycle first began. Always have we done our utmost to honor you and honor the traditions you described within the sacred book. One day I should like to read myself. Whatever shall transpire in the coming nights, it is your will, and I shall accept it, even as I strive with all my heart for all my friends. As soon as she is finished, you return to the wagon in silence, feeling as though Molten Melith has shown you favor. At dawn, you should begin your last ascent, for now your vocations may occupy what little time you have to spare. They gain +3 glory. Well, I suppose we'll do a mentor for the last time here. I don't think either of them are gonna hit max here, but we'll try Tizo. Tizo would be pleased to go over the finer points of the rites with you. You and Tizo compare thoughts on how each of your fellow exiles can contribute to prevailing in the rites, and in which groups of 3 they maybe can achieve their very best. Nope, not quite. Tizo feels honored to be of service to the exiles of the Nightwings. Ah, boy. To Scribe's Gate we go. Here in the sublime grandeur of Mount Elodial, you encounter a messenger imp. There we go. You learn that this imp was personally sent by Volfred himself to fill you in on all the latest happenings with him since he was liberated. On arriving in the Commonwealth, he was taken in with open arms and soon offered a seat among the Justice of Peace. He admits that he is quite taken aback by everything at first. He of course refused, stating his belief that the traditions of the Commonwealth have been corrupted over the many years. Such remarks put him in a real danger. The next moment, however, he was whisked to secrecy and safety by his sons and daughters of the Revolution in a daring raid. The Commonwealth claims he perished in the brazen act. Now Volfred continues his work to find a way to bring home all the rest of you and to transform the Commonwealth according to his plan. Closes with a message to you all: have faith, we shall prevail together in the end. Gets everyone talking. Tizo is very excited knowing Volfred is alive and well. Bertrude, unsurprising, from all our years we know him for a stubborn sort, his will cannot be shaken. The scribes are guiding him, they're on his side. I know they are because they told me so. I heard them, I just know. The scribes keep watching over you wherever you may go, sir. Even if the rites themselves shall cease ere your plan is achieved in full. The news of Volfred's liberation fills you and your fellow exiles with resolve. Messenger accepts a small bite to eat and then hurries away. +1 hope for everyone. You stand before the Scribe's Gate with your companions. The Gate Guardian is there as ever, but you sense something different in her. Exiles of Nightwings, we shall not meet again after the coming rite. Tariq and I Shall be time we take our rest, I think.
Salutiam, Ceres.
Greetings, Celeste. I would tell you that the Nightwings are prepared, though this time I am uncertain anyone amongst us feels thus. We have a duty to uphold, Tariq.
Taruntadage.
And then what, Celeste? Then nothing, not for the rights or us, not till the dawn of a new age. Now, Nightwing, step forward. Please state your names and what it is you seek while crossing Scribe's Gate. One by one, your fellow exiles approach her, now with sureness in their step. We are called Big Burchard. We seek to fulfill the plan of Sandalwood, for we are fond of him and his beliefs, and then to go about our business. Oh, my name is Faye, and I am here because of the scribes. This is the path that they have shown me and all of us. I like it when they call to me. Oh, Tizo. Tizo believes that his ancestors are watching over the Nightwings and seeks to live up to their legacy. Finally, you step forth once more. You, an old farmer who vowed to help their friends be free again and who managed to come this far with this group. Gate Guardian observes you for a moment, then motions past the archway toward the summit. The 8 scribes bid the Nightwings welcome. Go forth with glory. Except you, Tariq. You stay right there. Thought you said... The rites are not yet ended, Tariq. He looks to her and then over to the rest of you. Pardon me, everyone. I shall be there when the stars align. Huh. The Gate Guardian and the little minstrel remain together as the rest of you depart. I wonder if they will finally get to moment together. You've gained the summit of Mount Elodial for the 7th time, the final time in which any one of you shall have a chance to leave the downside. Hey, Ron. Oh, Sandra wants to talk to us, too. Hey, guys. I guess you probably heard the big news, huh? Yeah, I'm going out of business here, I guess. Just hasn't been the same, you know? What with the stars fading out and stuff. Anyway, just want to say you guys are great. I'm sure I'm gonna miss you guys. Customers and all that. But I got some good news though too. All my stuff, it's all on sale now. Throwing a little extra there just for you, okay? So enjoy. Maybe I'll be seeing you guys around, okay? Henceforth, all of Falcon Ron's goods are 5% off. Great. Oh, Ron. Boy, buddy, you didn't spare any expense on that one. That's funny. I mean, what do we... Maybe we'll upgrade this, Oh no, we sold it, didn't we? Yeah. Oh no, we still have this one. Yeah, well, sure, why not? Here, we'll... Sure. I mean, I guess we'll just leave beyond that. Although we could buy some of this stuff. The Star Serum. And, Moon Serum. Can we use that right now? There we go. Pleasure doing business with you guys, so, see you, Ron. Thank you for visiting us such short notice, reader. I understand you have important matters to attend to. So let me be blunt. Please listen for a moment, then. I know this whole affair is coming to an end, all of it. I sense the binds that form the rites becoming weak. I mean, soon you will not need me anymore. Not that you have needed me at any point, but still, my services will not be of any further use. I love to tell you that this means I shall be free from my eternal prison. For some of my beyonders, it shall be a release. My accomplices are bound by weaker words than those which have bound me. They shall fade away, I think, and finally rest. I, however, shall remain. Hesitates for a moment. Thus, I have a proposition for you. Do not know where you shall go from here, but I ask you to take me there, wherever it shall be. By that I mean, take this stone prison of mine and keep it. Do not just leave it, as all your predecessors have, each time their stay among the Nightwings reached an end. Soon the Beyonder Crystal shall serve no use at all, except to keep me trapped. I am content to remain thus, for I have little choice, but I would prefer to do so in your company. For I do enjoy your company, reader. It may not be much of a compliment, but I assure you that I much prefer your company to an eternity of solitude. I have no wish to see you gain in years and to eventually decay whilst I remain unchanging. But I should rather have more years whilst having contact. Even if those years to be brief, they shall afford me many more in which I might think back upon our times. Nor do I expect you to accommodate my needs, for I am well aware I have my limits in accommodating yours. That is to say, I wish you to go forth after this night and live your life however you see fit, for your own sake. May all this rights business enrich your coming days somehow. And in considering that life after this night, if you think that there may be place in it for me, however small, then once again, simply ask that you take me along. That way, should you ever wish to visit me again sometime, you could. And I would like to have that as an option more than not. My request here is a selfish one, for there is little I can offer in exchange, other than what little my companionship is worth. Perhaps I could lull you to sleep once in a while. Oh, Sandra. Who knows? You could always try to sell the Bionic Crystal for a reasonable sum somewhere, or something to that end. Wow. Must be someone out there with an interest in this thing. So then, you have heard my sad little proposition. What do you say? Absolutely, of course. Yeah, why not? Sandra's proved a kindred spirit. You grasp the Bionic Crystal and set it into the folds of your clothing. Sandra senses this and makes a sound as though surprised. Thank you, reader. He is at a loss for a moment, then. Let us go, then, from this place. Go and face your last remaining adversaries. May you crush them under heel and achieve the outcome which you seek. I believe you shall prevail. She disappears into the sun for now. Took the Bionic Crystal with you. Goodness. Well, I think we're going to make this an extra long episode and finish this thing. Sip my coffee here. You have gained the summit of Mount Elodial for the 7th time. Very few stars remain above to light your way as you wait commencement of the final liberation rite. Well, minstrel finds you clutching the Book of Rites, seeking there perhaps some bit of wisdom that may have eluded you so far. Reader, we may not have a chance to speak again after this. I may have to go. I wish to say that I am grateful for having made your acquaintance, and I shall remember you with fondness. I wish you well this night and always. Go forth with glory. Then he looks up and he extends his hand in friendship. You clasp it. You see, Faye has joined you. All of your companions are there with her, in fact. Oh, hi, reader. The others, they said they wanted me to join them, come talk to you. So here I am. The scribes are watching us. Reading one, thou art both wiser and less irritating than most others of thy kind. We have learned something from thee, and we are grateful. Hi, Tizo. Tizo wants you to know that he has the utmost faith in you. Look upon your fellow exiles, your companions with whom you have withstood the downside, and with whom you shall now conduct this final rite. Begging your pardon, but my time has come. We shall see each other soon. He departs. After this night, the outcome of Wolfred's plan, the plan which you have all been a part, shall be decided one way or another. For now, all you can do is strive to prevail against your final adversary so that one last companion may go free. You rise to join your fellow exiles as the last remaining stars ignite. Oh boy. Let us stand together. Yep, we're just gonna go with the standard. Who do we set free? Still don't know.
Look for one last time upon the fall of Solium, dear reader. Hear me for one last time. For soon the few remaining stars shall fade away, leaving you stranded there for your remaining days in that forsaken land where you deserve to be. The rabble that you roused here in the Commonwealth shall be put down. The exiles whom you liberated, all shall fall in line. But first, let us get on with this last liberation rite. You face none other than yourselves. Each so unlike the glorious nightwings of yore. 'Tis a shame that one of you shall soon be free, for you deserve each other.
Pyres burn, and each of the triumvirates is present and prepared. But before the lone minstrel can concur as per the custom, not another word, Orlek interjects. Demon Orlek slowly raises his clawed fingers to his mask. False Nightwings have arrived at last. Long have I awaited this. My freedom once was stolen from me. Then I was cheated of it here upon this mountaintop. You may now attempt to take it from me once more. He stands there for a moment, silent, then Orlek dons his mask and stands prepared. May these damned rites cease forever for the misery which they caused. I do kind of feel bad for him. Nightwings, we shall not meet again after tonight, for the cycle of the rites is all but ended. Thus I would have your decision. On whose behalf shall you conduct this final liberation rite? The one whom you anoint, or else exile Orlek shall be returned. Godspeed, reader. You know what is at stake better than I. I have utmost faith in you to make the best decision and conduct this rite with glory. Nightwings, the star's remaining lights grow dim. Your decision, please. Time now to choose who, if anyone among you, shall go free this one last time. The rest of you shall remain in the downside till the end of your days. One by one, you meet the gazes of each of your fellow exiles. Tizo. Faye. Gertrude. Fellow exiles, your companions, your friends. Together you have come this far. Now the downside and the rights conspire to tear your group apart and disrupt your plan. Huh. Yes, there is no turning back, or no, the pressure is too great. I wonder. I hope this isn't going to back it out, but it does say, is there no other way? I have to say the curiosity. Having to make this last decision is unconscionable. It's too much. You hesitate. Then you sense a reassuring voice from very far away enter your thoughts. Do not give in, reader. Do not give in. We stand with you. It's Volfred. The choice you are about to make, however you shall go about, and whatever the outcome, we understand. And so you need not hesitate. You need not explain. So please trust in yourself. For all the rest of us, we trust in you. You reconsider what you're about to do. You cannot back down. Sure? With but a glance, you reassure your fellow exiles that you know what to do.
One final opportunity for salvation. Too bad for the rest of you.
Orlek's bio. Was repulsed by what he saw in the bloodbore, which sowed in his heart a yearning for greater peace. Trying to use his influence to negotiate a treaty with the Highwing remnants, but not everyone was swayed. One day he received direct orders to return to the front. When he refused to soil his hands again, they cast him down. There in time he became affiliated with the Nightwings and grew to become one of their finest rights conductors, until tragedy struck. He was clinging to life at the foot of the sacred mountain. So we can actually send anyone. Or we can send no one. Okay. I'm a little concerned from a gameplay aspect what will happen if I throw the right. But I feel like not that any of these don't deserve it, and I kind of want Bertrude to go with Volfred. But at the same time, I wonder maybe we let them stay here together. What's left, and we let Orlek go. I wonder who we should anoint in that case then. I'm a little concerned about anointing Faye and then disappointing her. Let's have Bertrude anointed, and then we'll see what happens. Because if I was gonna send someone free, it would probably be her, even though I do feel for Faye. We have no fondness for the Commonwealth, though. Should we return to that realm, we shall endeavor to transform it in accordance with the plan. Choice is cast. As for your other companions, sense a clarity of thought and purpose in each of them. They stand ready to support Bertrude as well as you.
Who shall stand with her?
Faye?
Faye.
Blessed are the scribes who grant to me and all of us this final chance that we might free our dear friend Bertrude. And Tizo.
Tizo.
Tizo is ready to do what it takes to see Bertrude regain her freedom this night.
If that is all, then.
Those are to be my adversaries, then. And who is it, I wonder, who asserts their will over that group? Sense Orlek searching for you, almost reaching out to you. You, the shadow of the false Nightwings. They are nothing to me, but you who relinquish your own liberty for the sake of them? Strange. It is fitting, then, that I should have to face one such as you. Then Orlek stands at the ready, signaling for his two allies to do the same. By the light of dawn, the cycle of right shall cease. Let us see if we can finish this ordeal before that time. The sky above begins to shudder. The final liberation rite is about to commence. Tariq! I am prepared, Celeste. Then let our song this evening shake the stars themselves. Aye, Celeste, let us make sure of it. Tizo fumbles with his mask. Tizo recognizes Orlek and greets him tentatively. It is good to see you. Orlek reaches for his mask in turn. How is the horn? Mended? Tizo indicates his horn has not bothered him for a long time now and thanks Orlek for it. Good, a full recovery then. But it is unfortunate to see you standing there with them, Tizo. Come with us, no questions asked. Proposition seems to catch Tizo off guard. Indicates that he will not abandon his friends or their quest. He seems to be pleading with Orlek to stand down to listen, to not give in to anger. But Orlek shakes his head, puts his mask back on. This is something I must do, little one. Tizo dons his mask in turn, chirps nothing more. Yeah. Go for it, buddy. Or perhaps, but wow, this is... He only has a 10, huh? What about the rest of you? Oh, this is painful. Sky rains ash. Soon shall your pyres own mingle with them. Just then, the skies above begin to rain down fire. The final throes of the cycle of the rites and the ending of the age. Oh dear. Oh my goodness. This may seem a little anticlimactic, but I feel like it's the right thing to do. No, don't throw it. Get out of here. just go, man. I'm giving you this chance. Just take it. It's not an easy choice to make. Don't make it any harder than it has to be. Oh my goodness, it just occurred to me. Is our... Oh no, we don't have Volfred, so I don't think it's gonna... Oh my! I'm gonna have to ask that you guys do this a little faster, because you're making me second guess myself here. But no, I think this is the right thing to do. No pun intended. And I don't mean from a gameplay standpoint, I mean from a how I feel standpoint. He had his chance. It was taken from him. Let's give him his chance. All of you shall rot here, you shall rot, as I have all these many years. You false nightwings who deny me once again my rightful liberty. You who deny that liberty to all the triumvirates you face and vanquish under the guise of the traditions of the blasted scribes. Come, let us continue with this glorious affair.
How he has changed, that Orlick. Grown old and bitter. 'Twas but a little splash.
I know you're frustrated, Orlick, but I'm giving you a chance here.
Not much force of will behind that thrust.
A little more to go.
Merely a glancing.
It is interesting to me, though, that they only do 10 damage, because it definitely feels like this is the harder thing to do, quote-unquote.
It is what the scribes order.
Because if they're only doing 10 damage, this would be a very easy right to win. Your Pyre's flames now threaten to die out at any moment. Orlick makes a sound like laughter, but says nothing is prepared as one last assault against your side. We've never lost a liberation right either.
That ought to wake you up.
Once more.
And there it is. At last. The true Nightwings proved their worth.
Huh, achievement unlocked, mercy
As for
shown.
the Nightwings, they most
Interesting.
certainly did not.
I wonder if there is an
Thus
achievement
ends
specifically
the
for doing
liberation
that.
rite. And thus, the scribes have chosen.
We are to remain stranded then with ye in this forsaken land. Orlick appears his head bowed. For someone who has triumphed, you sense no pride in him. You posed a reasonable threat. Now farewell. You look upon Orlick for what you expect shall be the last time. At any moment now, the shimmer pool shall engulf him. Any moment now, he shall regain his freedom and return unto a commonwealth he has not seen in half a lifetime. Any moment now, the cycle of the right shall end until at least the dawn of a new age. Any moment now.
And thus, the scribes have chosen. And thus, the scribes have chosen.
Oh no.
And thus, the scribes have chosen. No. Nightwings. Reader. What have you done?
Nothing happens. Soon Orlick tenses up. Each prior time upon the fall of Solon, the shimmer pool is opened following the liberation rite and taken in whichever exile prevailed. Now all is still. The light of the stars above has all but died. You sense a growing fear that it is already too late, that the shimmer pool shall not reveal itself again. Orlick laughs to himself. The 8 scribes saved their greatest treachery for last. But something else catches his notice. Wait. Sudden rush of starlight cascades through the stillness of the summit. Oh, thank goodness. Shimmer pool has appeared again, different somehow, but open. Orlick looks upon it, but it does not engulf him, or at least not yet. It seems I was mistaken then. The 8 scribes, this is not their greatest treachery, it is their greatest jest. The shimmer pool is flung wide open. It seems that all are worthy now of freedom. Just then, Bertrand approaches. Preposterous that we might all return. Bertrand moves closer to the shimmer pool, but... Halt, Bertrand. There's a warning. Bertrand recognizes it as such and heeds it. The shimmer pool has lost most of its strength. You step inside and you shall surely perish in the current, of that I can assure you. Orlick shakes his head. Then I am cheated once again. No, the shimmer pool is revealed and one of you may still return as planned. But Orlick, as the victor of this liberation rite that ends an age, the choice of who to return is no longer decided, but is yours. Having to choose from those anointed ere the light of the last light of the stars is extinguished and the rites draw to an end, this is the final trial of the scribes. Final trial of the scribes. All that remains then is for me to choose myself, is that what you're saying? That is to be your choice? Then yes. How is this even a choice? What reason would I have to... Orlick, make your decision quickly, lest it shall be forfeit. Do not know for how much longer the light of the stars shall offer you this gift. Why do I hesitate? To have come this far, to have regained what ought have already been mine in all those years ago. Why now would I hesitate to claim my right? Final trial of the scribes. Orlok is lost in thought. We could let him work it out. Reach out to him. Or we can manipulate him. Oh dear. No, let's reach out to him. As Orlok struggles with the implications of the choice he has to make, you reach out to him, maintaining calm. Soon he becomes aware. You, shadow of the false nightwings, is essentially lurking at the edges of my thoughts. Be gone, you venture to a place more desolate than the one to which you have been exiled. But you remain with him. Soon your thoughts are known to him as well. You, all this time you stood by them, clinging all the while to your faith that you yourself could still be free someday. How foolish. In Volford, the remorse which he expressed to me then, it was genuine. This plan of yours, back when we stood together in the rights, it was our plan. The Orlok seems to pull back from you and returns to his senses. My choice is made, and please declare it. Turns to you. You there, shadow of the false nightwings. I would have you be gone from here, back to the Commonwealth. Go, return, and realize that plan. Gate Guardian studies him, betraying no emotion. The freedom I have sought, my desire for it, is unlikely to be stayed in the Commonwealth, which cast all of us here. Gate Guardian turns to you as well. Reader of the Nightwings, quickly, please, do you accept the burden and the outcome of this choice? You look toward Bertrude, who regards you with such understanding that leaves no room for doubt. Your choice, reader. Insist that Orlok go free instead, ask for Bertrude to be free, or humbly accept. I feel like this is we'll accept. I feel like insisting Orlok to go is robbing him of his freedom in a sense. I feel bad for leaving. Yeah, let's take it. What is being offered to you is far too precious of a thing to be declined. You accept. You have chosen to be free yourself. Choice is made then, it is done. Bertrude looks to you this one last time, her heart filled with unspoken understanding. Turn then to Orlok for an instant, but another instant later, he is gone. He and everyone, all you feel is the coldness of the rush of water coursing all around you. Orlok gave his freedom so that you may yet have yours. May you return in glory.
By the scribes, no stars that remain aloft. The cycle of the rights. It is finished. The Commonwealth. What shall become of it? What shall become of us? Nightwings. The opportunity to gain your freedom from the downside. Was it not enough?
That night, an exiled reader returned to the Commonwealth. They were to be the last. The stars had faded and the cycle of the rights had run its course. We found the Commonwealth in great upheaval. Spurred by the efforts of the 6 liberated exiles, Volfred Sandalwin's revolutionary plan had incited the masses. These exiles in the starless sky portended the return of the scribes. People surged into the streets shoulder to shoulder. Led by the 6 exiles, their voices shook the heavens. The leadership of the Commonwealth panicked. No blood was shed that night, and by dawn it was over. The leaders of the Commonwealth had cast themselves back into exile, or joined in this new cause. Thus, In its 838th year, the Commonwealth had fallen. The new Saurian Union declared its sovereignty into the next year. Among the changes its elected leaders ushered in, they vowed never to cast their people into exile, and they abolished the old Commonwealth decree forbidding literacy. That's huge. Today, we still remember all of this. And we remember the exiles of the downside, whose deeds led to the dawning of our age, whether they returned or not. Achievement unlocked true freedom. We have a portrait of everyone here. Oh, we get a little story bit of everyone. Oh, this is awesome. Okay, we're gonna go through all this. After her liberation, Jordariel soon became an icon of the movement that led to the collapse of the Commonwealth and the rise of the Saurian Union. Her horns and stern countenance inspired the people to believe that she was solely a murderer born. She became a great if reluctant leader. In the uncertain times that followed, Jordariel's seasoned expertise often came into play both in matters of security and state. For instance, she conscripted and trained a team of volunteers in public safety. The community did not know what to make of such a cordial bunch at first, but soon came to value their service. They have stood for the people ever since, and we celebrate their founding day each year. He remained close with Hedwyn all through his experience, and they support each other through their struggles many times. She often had to stop herself from fearing for Faye, who she tried to look after as much as possible on the downside. Soon she would reassure herself that Faye was very capable of surviving on her own, and in fact she was not mistaken. She never settled down with anyone, though from time to time she thought about Ignarius despite herself. Yeah, I feel bad that those two are not together. She continued training on her own, a regimen that grew stricter with each passing year. There were those who sought to train with her, and she sometimes obliged. There remained one other constant in her life. She would always remember her days among the Nightwings, and with fondness for the most part. What about Ron? With the rights drawn to a close, the slug market's revenues fell precipitously, and Falcon Ron was forced to liquidate his assets and close up shop. Yet, as is sometimes the case with those of an entrepreneurial leaning, this time of hardship led to an epiphany, or at least a sudden change of fortune. One day, Falcon Ron had run in with a messenger and bearing news from the other side. Ron gave to it one of his remaining trinkets, which could not be sold. The following week, the messenger returned to him bearing a tidy sum of wealth in newly minted coinage from the Saurian Union. Falcon Ron cut a long-term deal with the messenger imp then and there. Though his trade remained a gray area from a legal standpoint in the Saurian Union, the newfound fame of the downside caused Falcon Ron's good to explode in popularity. Later signed an elaborate agreement with Big Bertrude's and found a distribution partner on the other side through Rookie Greentail, whose own business had expanded. Especially in the Saurian Union, Falcon Ron's goods are still known for their superior quality, though he assumes no liability for any side effects. Boy, there are a lot of these. What about you? All his life, Sir Deluge had fled from one danger to find himself facing another. He'd escaped the war-torn wars of the Sea Dominion, he'd escaped the blood board of the Commonwealth, and now he escaped the rights. After the rights had ended, many exiles wrapped up in the ancient test were crestfallen as their last chance to return to their homes vanished along with the stars above. But Deluge did not mind, for his outcome meant that at last there was no burden of responsibility weighing him down. While most of his fellow exiles of the Pyre hearts yet longed for the waters of the Sea Dominion, driven as ever by their impulses toward conflict, Deluge settled down. With him remained one of his companions, one Lady Seagrass, who had taken a liking to him for some reason. Reportedly, they disappeared in the waters of Worm Gulf, which may begin to explain the significant increase in worm population observed in the vicinity. Oh wow. Alright, what about his counterpart? When the Worm Gilman returned to the Commonwealth, he believed that he had regained something even more important than his freedom, his honor. Gilman relinquished his knighthood and declined an opportunity to serve as the captain of the Blood Border. He was not interested in fighting any longer. Yet, as is sometimes the case with those such as he, a circumstance soon came about in which there came a need for him to once again make use of his military training. Thankfully, however, the scribe's return ended peacefully. Gilman was on edge throughout that night, expecting violence to erupt at any moment. The moment never came. When the matter was at last put to rest, and Gilman truly knew his time as a knight had ended, he declared to all those in earshot that he would never fight again. Unless, of course, there arose some other extraordinary set of circumstances again requiring him to fight, but he certainly hoped not. He still trained regularly, just in case, especially with his fleet-footed friend, Rookie Greentail. He was always grateful for the counsel of the reader, and would regale them over and over about the time they squashed the spawn of unfathomed Plurness. By that point, he had long forgotten about his days under the leadership of Sir Deluge, his former commander. Breaking free of his abusive leadership was his first step toward gaining a bit of self-respect. Gilman never did return to his homeland of the Sea Dominion and was content to lead a monastic life on a small residence in the hills. It was just high up enough to make him keep striving to conquer his fear of heights. Other than that, an intense daily regimen and the occasional visit from an old companion was more than enough to keep him optimistic and engaged. He knew by then that honor was not something to be won, but a contract with oneself to be renewed each day. I'll take a sip of my water here, if you'll pardon me. This was much more than I expected. Let's actually go maybe back and forth on these. So Ignarius. Once it became clear to Ignarius that the rites were drawing to a close, he knew that it was time for him and the Templars to call it quits. But first he and the Templars decided to celebrate, and that they did for many, many nights. The revelry did eventually subside. The exiles parted amicably and went their separate ways. He roamed the downside then, searching for some meaning in his life, sometimes taking odd jobs requiring his brute strength. He never remained alone for very long, and took on many lovers in his time. However, he sometimes thought about the one he had called Curly Horns and what became of her. Those glory days of the most powerful conductor of the rites had long since passed. He always enjoyed the fearsome reputation he cultivated at that time. Huh, interesting. Let's see. What about... I think of counterparts here. Oh, Manly. Manly Tinderstuff realized the rites had ended and they no longer could return to the Commonwealth through this ancient means. He was outraged. First the scribe spewing forth such a slew of blasphemy as to be very unbecoming of one of his high status and bearing. When at last he calmed himself, he focused all his energies on attempting to find another means of homecoming. He maintained regular contact with his wealthy family on the other side via messenger imp, and used their vast resources to explore other means of escape. He tried using an elaborate pulley system. He attempted to retrofit a flying black wagon with superior propulsion, tried an imp raft, a hot air balloon, even prayer. Nothing worked. There was only one way to escape the downside, and now it was gone. Tinderstuff bankrupted his family in these vain attempts. Alas, such was his shame that he retreated to the teeming ruins of Black Basin to Cinderroot. There he yet was, complaining to his comrades of the chastity who still put up with him, either about his own misfortune and the latest news from the other side. Oh, Manly. Alright, what about Bertrude? Several exiles of the Nightwings cared more for the plan of Sandalwood than to return home from the downside. The crone called Big Bertrude was a prime example. She had found a suitable environment to live within the dismal region known as Flagging Hands. There she had built up a thriving place of business known to many exiles in the land. The rites having ended, she returned to her preoccupations, working away almost as though nothing had happened. When one gets to be more than 400 years of age, perhaps then even monumental events such as the culmination of the rites or the collapse of the Commonwealth are seen as trifling matters. Much of her efforts was doubtless due to the influence of Sandalwood, someone who she had now admired for decades. Though they were very far apart now, she sought out news of his whereabouts and found his actions in the Saurian Union a rare source of inspiration. By and large, Bertrude kept focused on her work. Whether casting small enchantments or imbuing talismans, the work brought her a sense of purpose, she would say. In the Commonwealth, such services were strictly forbidden, but in the downside, there was a real need for simple luxuries. The competing slug market cannot always provide. Thus did Bertrude continue to live up to her name, and the tales of her days, the Nightwings, made her that much more the living legend. and her counterpart. After the cycle of the rites had ceased, Witch Ilmilda returned to the Flagging Hands region where she sealed herself within the Pit of Melith. There, even her fellow exiles, the Withdrawn, allegedly grew unnerved after a time and left her to her vile work. Sometime later, the Pit of Melith erupted into flame. So intense was the conflagration that could be seen all the way from Jomir Valley. Arson was suspected, though the cause was never verified, and many bog dwellers in the region were forced to flee. Tempest blowing from the north finally quenched the flames. When the last ashes settled and the grounds had cooled, the site of the fire was scarred beyond recognition. No trace of the witch could be found. So the contents of the Pit of Melith, which notably included a profane object thought to be the remains of Islak, all of it was gone as well. Back in the Saurian Union, Ilmilda's repeated threats of the return of Islak were thoroughly investigated, and no credence was found to any of her claims. Good riddance. How about Ruki? After Ruki Greentail earned back his freedom, he returned to a lavish welcome ceremony in the Commonwealth, as was the tendency for liberated exiles. It was everything he could have hoped for, and soon he was well off, surrounded by luxury and choosing between various exciting opportunities. However, he must have given into his better judgment, as he did end up siding with Volfred's revolutionary forces as he promised. On the night of the scribe's return, Greentail was there with many others, inspiring the masses. He never looked prouder, the very image of Jomir Menimane himself. When dawn finally came, it became clear that the Commonwealth that everyone knew would be no more. He realized many opportunities awaited. Being quite a lucrative career for himself, manufacturing and selling replica merchandise inspired by the downside, his main struggle was to meet demand. An aspect of his conscience cautioned him against making light of such a thing, but the money was too good and soon his family was as well off as he always said. One of his orders of business was to seek out his old companions, Pam the Thane, to whom he took a liking during their quest for freedom. They bonded further over love of drink and supported one another through uncertain times that lay in store. They also kept in close touch with Gilman, ever the perfect practice partner. They would train together often, taking care to stay in tip-top shape as much as possible throughout the years. Greentail always did his best to keep in touch with all his many friends, and knew that he owed his fortunes to them. He made a special point of staying close with his group of friends he came to know so well during his time with the Nightwings, wherever they were. They shared a special understanding that put even Greentail at a loss for words sometimes. Aw, Ruki. I like Ruki. And Barker Ashpaws. Never had much interest in returning to the Commonwealth, for he always found its bylaws to be so stifling. When the rites ended, he didn't care. He soon grew very bored. The rites had given his life a certain sense of structure he'd always needed. He missed the raw anticipation of it all. He decided to continue conducting the rites for the thrill of it. He bent some of the rules and replaced some of the objects, but it was close enough. Packmates and dissidents proved more than happy to participate, and thus they ran against each other back in Jomir Valley. Gradually, other exiles familiar with the rites, as well as those who had not heard of it at all, started to take interest. They ended up giving Barker some healthy competition. His old feud with Ruki ceased meaning anything to him, and he forgot all about it amidst his new pursuits. Ultimately, even Barker, who had led such a directionless existence to that point, found something of calling through the rites. Whether he took the rites less seriously than any of the exiles of his time, or more, was oft debated by those who watched him work. How about... Faye? Long after the rites had ended, Faye admitted that she knew well before the fact that she would not be going home again. At least she had a very strong feeling. She ended up not minding very much because she had little to return to in the Commonwealth. Her sense of home had changed. This is kind of what we were talking about. She took to wandering from one celestial landmark to the next, ever paying homage to the 8 scribes who she believed had influenced all that transpired. She was no stranger to traveling alone, but was always happy to have company. Among her friends, she always remained close with Tizo, who more so than anyone could always make her laugh. Though they could not see each other any longer, Faye often thought about Jodariel and spoke to her as though she were there. Faye tried never to make a decision without first consulting her idea of what Miss Jodariel might say. Aw, Faye. One day she encountered one of her former adversaries, one called Almar Oldheart, who had served the Fate. She remembered him much more than he did, though only just at first. Their shared experiences in the rites and their different points of view about the scribes formed the basis of what grew to be a long-lasting friendship. Yes! Faye always was devoted to her faith, but more so to her friends. Her gentle manner and unwavering conviction often helped them brave life in the downside, both with courage and grace. That's what we were hoping for. Or that's what I was hoping for. As the cycle of the rites drew to a close, it grew evident that a chance for freedom from the downside had forever slipped from Dalbert and Almar's grasp. Thus they and the exiles of the Fae returned to Jomir Valley. There they struggled to get by, as exiles of the downside tend to do. Sometime after the rites had ended, the old hearts at last heard the news that the Commonwealth had fallen. This was well after the fact, of course, but it brought old Dalbert great joy. Despite his forthright manner, he had no love for the nation that cast him down along with his son. Dalbert passed peacefully in his sleep before the next new moon. Wow. In his final day, he implored his son to undertake a pilgrimage to the scribes. Almar never shared his father's view of the scribes, but respected Dalbert's wishes, and so after a period of mourning, Almar began a new journey. One day during his travels, he ran almost headlong to another exile after paying homage to the Spring of Jomir. He was stunned to find this was none other than one he knew as Faye from their days as adversaries in the rites. Faye was overjoyed to see him, though Almar was unable to bring himself to understand why. Eventually, of course, he did, and they remained together, growing ever more accustomed to their new lives in the downside. Not a day went by that Almar did not think about his father and give thanks to him and speak to him in the morning and at night. Would that the stars yet shone, for surely Dalbert's would be there among them, smiling down at his son and watching over him and his kin. That's adorable. Alright, what about Tizo? Once the rites had ended, the imp Tizo had a job to do, quite unlike most exiles trapped forever in the downside. The lone minstrel asked that he watch over the Black Wagon, which the Nightwings had used extensively for travel and for shelter all throughout their quest. Tizo obliged, for he knew the wagon as well as its drive imp inhabitants, perhaps better than anyone. What became of the wagon exactly was never verified as evidence of Tizo's thorough work. After that, he'd like to while away his days with any of his friends, or else with fellow imps. He would visit his friend Faye at every opportunity. She was among the few who could consistently interpret what he meant. They were always close since they first met. Wolfred sometimes would send him little gifts all the way from the downside. Despite the insurmountable distance between them, their friendship proved more than resilient. Tizo often missed his interactions with the reader of the Nightwings. They had quickly built quite a rapport back in the downside. Indeed, Tizo would often express wistful gratitude for all his time with the Nightwings. In their many adventures throughout the land, there was always his home. Other than that, Tizo would sometimes help interpret for imps relaying news to and from Saurian Union. Despite having gained significant celebrity abroad, he never let it go to his head. And he would go fishing in the Sea of Souls at every single chance he got. Alright. How about Hedwyn? After his liberation, Hedwyn was instrumental in the events leading to the fall of the Commonwealth and was vital to the outcome of our plan. He was also the first one we set free. The peaceful outcome of the scribe's return was attributed to several key factors. One of them was the underlying ambition of the plan itself. Do we get a percentage on the plan? I guess it just says it's completed. Another was Hedwyn's visibility among the people in the streets, identified to be a liberated exile who was believed to be Golgothanian reborn. More importantly, however, was that one of the winged harps of the High Wing Remnants accompanied him. She was later identified as Vakani Shang. Ooh, harp for whom Hedwyn cared deeply. They were separated when Hedwyn was exiled. I don't know if we ever... He never spoke of who it was, did he? Their bond was symbolic of what was at stake that night and proved vital to the peace that followed. In all his days as the leader in the Saurian Union, Hedwyn often confided in his friend Jodariel. Despite her intense manner, there was no one whom he trusted more in times when circumspection was required. Hedwyn would often think back about the whole vow he made at the beginning of his quest for freedom. Though he cherished all the friendships he made, he had pledged to Jodariel, Ruki, and the reader of the Nightwings that they might all be free together again. And they were. His promise had come to pass, though he always knew that this was not his own doing. He was always deeply grateful to the other three, his closest friends. While the others who stood with the Nightwings were not able to remain in contact thus, Hedwyn thought of each one of them, and so in turn did they all think of him. and his counterpart.
Grage merefactas.
After the final liberation rite, Lendl refused to believe the rites had truly ended. He would sit through night after consecutive night, staring into the blackness of the sky, awaiting any sign that he might gain another chance at freedom. No such sign came. His fellow accusers started to express concern for him. Survival had become their top priority once liberty had slipped from their grasp. Lendl dismissed them as weak fools. He insisted rather forcefully that any evening now the stars would shine for him again. Marked the way towards his inevitable freedom. He was, of course, mistaken. The others in his triumvirate were left with little choice but to abandon him. After that, the exile known as Lendl the Liar was never seen again. However, there have since been sightings of a bedraggled demon who wanders the downside and bears Lendl's cruel countenance, suggesting he yet lives. Oh, wow. Okay, how about Tamitha? Actually, let's go with Tamitha first. Throughout her exile, Tamitha Thane was motivated by a single goal, to return to the Commonwealth and exact vengeance on her ancient enemies. When she realized that rites had ended and that she would never see her mountain home again, she nonetheless remained determined to aid her people however possible. She gathered certain information pertaining to the intentions of the Nightwings who had formed a pact to regroup on the other side after their liberation. Other such reports exposed certain weaknesses in the Commonwealth defenses and revealed to the Highwing remnants the opportunity for a risky potential impactful strike. Tamitha could not participate in the assault. She learned what happened well after the outcome. On that night, known as the Scribe's Return, the Commonwealth had fallen. The Highwing remnants thus prevailed at last, without even having to fight. Soon after the fall, Tamitha learned her blood sister Pamitha was an accessory to the successful outcome. Tamitha was skeptical, but as similar reports kept mounting, she soon accepted the prevailing opinion, however grudgingly. Once Imp arrived bearing some sort of message seemingly from Pamitha, however Tamitha turned it away. She would not give in to an impulse to forgive. A terrible way to be. Knowing that the conflict on the other side had ended, Tamitha retreated to the crags of Black Basin and grew ever more distant. Those closest to her surmised that her inability to reconcile with her blood sister was at the heart of this. Though for her part, Tamitha never admitted to any such weakness. That's a terrible way to be, Tamitha. Alright, how about Pamitha? After regaining her freedom, Pamitha Thane found herself in a difficult position. Having once betrayed her people, she knew that she would not be welcome in her native home. She did not trust the Commonwealth either. Instead, she found her place among Bolfred's ancients, who were busy doing their part to fulfill the plan. As it turned out, the plan was a success. Pamitha Thane stood shoulder to shoulder with her other fellow former exiles, and truly they were a sight to behold. A disturbing rumor later spread that night the Highwing remnants were slated to mount an assault, which for some reason never came to pass. Pamitha denied any knowledge or involvement. Afterward, Pamitha played an active part in negotiating terms between the Highwing remnants and the new nation that would become our Saurian Union. The previous attempt at something of the sort led to her exile. She must have felt some satisfaction to succeed this time. Sometime later, Pamitha had an unexpected run-in with Ruki, with whom she had spent a fair amount of time while traveling with the Nightwings. Under these new set of circumstances, it turned out the two had a lot more to talk about and rather more in common. It would often put to the test which one was able to outdrink the other. It is unclear as to which one of them prevailed in that contest in the end. One day, Pamitha received an invitation to return to the remnants where she was to be fully pardoned. She held out hope that she might see her sister Tamitha, knowing full well that Tamitha did not regain her freedom. Tamitha did later learn that Pamitha was welcomed back by her people. However, she never responded to her blood sister's attempt to contact her. Tamitha in turn did not expect forgiveness from her at any point. Nonetheless, she kept on trying to reach out, she said, to ruffle up her feathers just a bit. Later when asked, Tamitha admitted she felt as though she had no home to call her own. This was during an interview conducted amid an extensive trip abroad, where she had traveled thousands of leagues beyond the bounds of the Saurian Union. Tamitha continued to journey thus, citing that it reminded her of when she was younger and could fly unfettered. Okay, what about... what about Sandra? After the cycle of the rites ceased turning, records of what happened in the Black Wagon and the Nightwings became inconclusive and contradictory. Some accounts suggest that the exiles and the Nightwings who remain in the downside continue to make use of the Black Wagon as their place of shelter and their means of travel. However, there is no record of what happened to the wagon's contents, such as the Book of Rites or the Crystal. The Honor Crystal is said to be haunted by the apparition of Sandra the Unseeing. One possibility is that, when the lone minstrel took his leave, he took the Honor Crystal with him, or he was thus obliged. By this line of reasoning, however, the Black Wagon itself should have been taken also. Boy, I'm not used to talking about this song, or this consistently. Others remain skeptical that the Beyond Crystal ever existed, or rather that the visions that it granted were anything other than the result of an active imagination or a fever dream. The bog dwellers of the southern bogs offer still another explanation, where they are familiar with binding enchantments. There existed such an object in which the Sisters of the Ark had been expelled for more than 800 years, then the enchantment could have expired along with the light of the stars. What this would have meant for Sandra and the Beyonders is difficult to say, other than it meant they have finally released. Nevertheless, the fates of Sandra and the Beyonder Crystal remain unknown. We know where it is. Yet those exiles, the Nightwings, who claim to have seen this apparition, all spoke her with degrees of reverence, or perhaps a little fear. Can you believe this, reader? Honestly. Sandra has appeared before you, as well you can see. They are so far from the mark with all this nonsense. I am wont to laugh. In fact, here goes. She laughed. She was referring to the account of her. You sense she does not care for it. Well, let them gossip all they like. I merely wish they would mention you, at least in passing, when next they are at it. Though they shall never know even the half of it, shall they? Sandra seems irritated by the incomplete account of what happened to her. We can reassure her, humor her, or remain silent. Now let's humor her. You indicate to Sandra that the real truth of what happened between you would perhaps make too lascivious a tale to be told in such a format. Makes a bemused sound at this. Perhaps that story ought to get out then. To think that they would all go through all the trouble to make literacy accepted once again, only to print such drivel. Anyway, let us keep going, lovely reader. We know the truth of it, that is what matters. She fades into the Beyond Crystal for now. You tuck it away. Safe. Alright, how about Volfred? When Volfred regained his freedom, he knew that his work had only just begun. The nation that had exiled him to life in the downside now prepared to honor him. He was not interested in such ceremony, nor in the freedom of the Commonwealth's own terms. He soon rejoined his agents, with whom he had been coordinating for years, slowly, carefully preparing for a night that would soon come. For Sandalwood and his loyalists and sympathizers, true freedom was at stake. Not just theirs, but that of everyone living under the Commonwealth. He hoped to gather liberated exiles representing each of the 8 largest ethnic groups composing the population of the Commonwealth. They would stand together as the vision of the 8 scribes returned, inspiring the masses to embrace an older set of values from before the Commonwealth had tightened its grip. The rites having ended sooner than expected, this optimal scenario became impossible. Sandalwood did not relent, prepared to execute his plan, imperfect though it was. On that night, he stood as one of the 6 former exiles of the Nightwings, and their voices echoed together through the streets. These former exiles, who have disappeared into the ranks of the Commonwealth's own leadership, now stood united with its people who poured from their homes in solidarity. It was imperative to Sandalwood that this stand against the Commonwealth be peaceful in its nature. An overwhelming show of popular support would be more than enough. Ensuring that this was his priority that night, and in the end, the result was self-evident. The plan's goal had been achieved. Sandalwood's work was far from over still. He labored ceaselessly with representatives from across the population to restore a sense of stability. This transitional period had its troubles, though none that were not quickly solved, such as the will and spirit of the people. They understood their freedom carried new responsibility. After the Saurian Union was born the next year, Sandalwood was elected as the nation's first prime minister. It was not his intent to run for this office, but the people chose him anyway. He led our fledgling nation through its nascent years. He invited the perspective of the reader of the Nightwings at every opportunity, counted them one of his chief advisors and most trusted friends. As Wolf regained more fame throughout his land for all his sacrifices and his contributions, he remained ever steadfast about two things. The first was that the cause itself ought to remain in focus. The freedom that the people had achieved was a gift to be cherished, a set of values that needed to be nurtured. The second point he made was that he himself had little to do with the outcome. He would often praise the exiles and the Nightwings who had stood with him, each in turn by name. He never forgot any of them. One day on his birthday, the people of the Saurian Union presented to him a monument depicting him and the Nightwings as imagined in their prime. It has since ensured that those of us with memories more fallible than that of Sandalwood likewise remember the achievements of his fellow former exiles in our cause. What about Orlac? After the Shimmer Pool closed for what would be the last time, Orlac looked around him, in the flickering light of the Nightwing's still burning pyre. Then turned towards the Fall of Solheim and looked up toward the black, starless sky. After standing thus for some time, he averted his gaze and walked away without a word. Orlac had relinquished his freedom of his own free will. Perhaps in realizing this, he saw no reason to remain there on the sacred mountain. For many moons, he wandered at the downside alone. Eventually, however, he would reunite with the exiles he stood with as the true Nightwings, for they each cared for him. The one he had called the Shadow of False Nightwings was someone who he thought about at times. He wondered if this reader had an influence over the Commonwealth's fall. Further, there is some speculation that Orlac and Volford reinitiated contact at some point, using imps to bridge the great distance between them. Sandalwood was private about any such exchanges, but would often make a point of making sure that Orlac's name was always cited in reference to the Nightwings, among with others. Orlac later reunited with Tizo, who joined his travels. It was much like olden times in that regard, and the imp always enjoyed his company. Still, in the Saurian Union, no one remembered the former chief physician who had fallen into exiles decades prior. No one knew just how close he came to altering the outcome of the final liberation rite, and thus, perhaps to altering the course of history. Today, however, this is not the case. Accounts from other exiles of the downside have ensured that Orlac's place in the events that shaped our world are known and shall be known. Oh, two remain. Tariq and Celeste. After the cycle of the rite ceased turning, the lone minstrel bade the remaining Nightwings take the Black Wagon and seek their fortunes elsewhere in the downside. Their parting was heartfelt but brief. He remained there at the summit of Mount Elodio with Celeste, where the two of them would chronicle the final outcome of the cycle. Neither Tariq nor Celeste were ever seen again. We know all of this now through song attributed to them. Some claim these songs originated in the taverns of the Saurian Union or merely were imbued with the weight of folklore. However, exiles liberated from the downside corroborate each other's claims that having met this duo that presided over the liberation rites. Another folktale suggests that these minstrels were heralds of the scribes. Having fulfilled their obligations, they departed the world we know and rejoined their patron. One of their famous songs described another simpler outcome. The two gave up their duties to the rites in favor of a life that they could share together. I hope so. In any case, they are likely to remain the subject of such verses and such songs, for it was they who watched over the rites and ushered in our times. That's everyone. Well, maybe. There is one more account which warrants mention. The Nightwings conducted the rites under the guidance of a reader. Little is known of them. However, some accounts of them begin to paint a picture. Know they were of common birth? Just stout enough to make a simple farmer? The journey to the downside left them close to death. It was then that the Nightwings found them. They brought them from the brink, they showed them the path. Press onward with the others. They made a vow to help their friends be free. Thus did the cycle of the rites commence its final turn. When the final right arrived, the reader's freedom was at stake. That freedom they indeed achieved ere morning's light. From that point on, accounts of them diverge. It is said the voice which troubled them they never heard again. Some say they chose to tend the Saurian Union's land. Though whether that is true, only they know. Someday, perhaps, that reader's own star shall emerge. Then it shall pierce the dark of night in all its brilliant glory. Until such time, and ever after, all of us give thanks.
Their journey began on a barren waste where the reader arrived, afraid and alone. When they arrived, the book of rights awakened the night wings and ignited the flame. They follow the stars, bound together, strands in our brain till the end. We sing of the last of the night wings who, having broken the cycle, shall live on in song. Headwind prevailed and strode the path that his heart laid before him. He has found his way home. Captain Joe Dariel, mother to many a foundling, she has found her way home. Rookie Greentail has proved his worth and returned to his family by the grace of the scribes. They follow the stars, bound together, strands in a brain till the end.
The moon-touched girl feels the scribes in the heart of the downside. She remained to the end. Tease all the wise, ever faithful to the cause of the night wings. He remained to the end.
Sir Gilman the Bold, ever in his quest, finding honor and glory, he has found his way home. Paramith the Thane, having pleased the scribe, seeking only forgiveness, she has found her way home. They follow the stars, bound together, strands in a brain till the end. Bound together, spirits tender, strands unbroken, scribes awoken. Wolfred prevailed as the night wings guide, having led them to glory. He has found his way home.
The bog dweller Bertrude kept their foes at bay
to the stars. We shall find our way home. We shall find our way home. We shall find our way
I think with that, we're wrapping things up. Thank you everyone for watching. True Nightwing campaign mode unlocked. Interesting. But thank you everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed this journey. Hope you enjoyed this extremely long video. I didn't want to break it up. I think it was too important to have this ending all together. So I hope you've been able to watch it all. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the series. Thank you all for watching. See you soon.